You know what it is. It is just like that. Sex in the City, the original series. We're going back. We're recapping. We're reviewing. We're reanalyzing. We're doing this because we just came off of And Just Like Crap. And I am here for us to all go back and relive these moments, these years in time. So this time we have season 1, episode 10, The Baby Shower. We only have 2 more episodes before this season ends. I'm stoked because we made it through and you guys have stuck with me. And I cannot thank you so much for all those who are sticking with me and watching this and going through this with me. And I'm having fun. So I hope you're having fun too. So I'm going to just say this. I haven't rewatched Sex and the City in a long time. So I'd forgotten about this season 1. And again, I wasn't really into season 1 when I was watching it at the time. It swayed me to watch the show, but it didn't convince me that the show was going to be as an impact on just the general audience and myself until 2 and 3. So when I just finished with rewatching The Baby Shower, wow. Let me tell you something. It is unbelievable how much things have changed, and just the whole premise of the story and where we are now with the whole ending of Just Like Crap. So, are you ready? The Baby Shower. The one that pretty much freaked me the hell out. Okay? We'll get into that in the epilogue. So guess what? You know what's next? Stay tuned. Scene opens. We see someone writing an invitation, and we hear Carrie narrating that one of the most frightening things to receive is an invitation to a baby shower. So you see each of the girls getting this invitation to a baby shower to someone that we're going to get introduced to and never see again, but was one of the most traumatizing people that I can tell you at the time in 1998 when I had my 3-year-old child, that I'm like, wow. Again, I didn't know back then that I would never see her again because the way they made her seem in this episode that she was a member at some point of this team. Let's get into it. So Carrie's still narrating, and all of a sudden, they're in the bedroom of Carrie. They're all watching television, the ladies in the bed. And the problem is that the person that sent the invitation, her name is Lainey, and it's a baby shower. And Miranda refuses to go to this baby shower. She will not be forced to go. She is upset that she's using a baby, or Samantha's saying she's upset she's using a baby because, to validate her life. So, of course, the 3 of them, except for Charlotte, who is baby fever centric, almost engaged to everybody every episode, is like, oh, come on, we have to go. And, Miranda's problem is that when women have a baby, it becomes a cult. You get inducted to this cult because all is about babies, babies, babies. Now, back then, it affected me in a way that I don't remember being that way. I remember that being a mother did change me. It should. It's normal. But I didn't have this group setting that's going to come to this baby shower in my life. So maybe that's what happened here, because my friends already had children, or, they were going to get married and stuff like that. So I had a really positive experience transitioning from being a single to a mom. So I couldn't really relate to too much of what they were trying to say in this episode, in this scene. But this whole focus was that Miranda asked, why should I go to Charlotte and to Carrie? And it goes into the history of this woman, Lainey. Okay. Apparently, remember, this is 1998 when the show is airing, and Lainey 8 years ago was some wild woman. So they go back into the early 90s and what their rendition of fashion is. And I think they're in Samantha's home, and Lainey is appearing to be a wild child. She's all over the place, kissing women, everybody's screaming, Lainey, Lainey, Lainey. Like, she was looking like she was having an enormous amount of fun. in someone's house, on someone's couch. And one of the things that Samantha says that if Lainey F's on that couch, she's going to buy it. So Carrie's like, isn't that how you got the couch from me? So you could tell apparently from the conversation and the mode of operation that Samantha's in that she really didn't like Lainey. And we get into why she doesn't like Lainey. So Carrie's narrating and she's saying that Lainey was one of those women that worked for, I think, a music industry. And she always had a new group or came back with a new group to sign for the label. And I don't know how to describe the scene because I can't give you a visual too much. Lainey is like, everybody's like, Ken, I want to see your breastises. This is the house party that's happening. Okay. In the early 90s, presuming Samantha's house. Okay. And as everybody's screaming, I want to see your breast, Lainey. Lainey's like, oh, stop it. You've seen my breast enough. I'm like, okay. I didn't realize they were going to go there. That's why I'm shocked. So as they're screaming, Lainey, 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 and she starts to get up and she starts to literally undress. Again, I have no real connection to this woman, but I find it interesting that she's a house stripper. I didn't know there was, I know about strippers. I didn't know there was a special house stripping. I didn't go to parties like that. I have to tell you, I'm starting to reevaluate my young life again. The show really brought a lot out of me. I've been wondering what the hell I've been doing all my life then, back then. So as Carrie is narrating that Lainey was a wild child and that she had, Samantha was, I guess, her competition, or Samantha felt that it was her competition because, equally crazy, equally wild, though I've never seen Samantha strip at a house party. That's one thing I haven't seen her do. We've seen her do a lot. I haven't seen her do that. So one of the issues is that everyone was shocked that she went from that to meeting a Wall Street, guy, marrying him, moving to Connecticut, and then having a baby shower. So that was this whole purpose of going back into their time. Because they couldn't understand how we went from Crazy Lainey showing her breasts at a house party, which apparently has done more appearances than, a movie star. The P1. Can't say metaphors. So we're back into the bedroom of Carrie, and everybody is saying, well, I still don't want to go. But Charlotte's like, no, we should really go because it's the right thing to do, because there's a long-standing history between all of them, which is ironic because in the 1990 version, Charlotte is not there. It's only Samantha, Miranda, and Carrie. But I guess at some point, Charlotte got to know her. So Carrie agrees and she says, we should go. Samantha's like, why? She says, because if you're driving through the desert and you see a sign for a two-headed snake, you stop and you look. When Lainey, crazy wild Lainey, sends an invitation for a baby shower, you stop and you go. So the equivalent of wild Lainey was a two-headed snake in the desert. That's how I took it. It is that rare. And granted, I could see why. So everybody agrees. And the one thing that made Samantha happy is like, fine, I'll go. Just imagine how fat she's gonna look. I'm like, okay. The animosity is there. And I can tell that she's going in her own way, in her own agenda. Got it. Now we get to go to the baby shower in a very unique fashion motif. Stay tuned. So, next scene. It's almost the day of the baby shower, and we are introduced to Carrie narrating that she's checking her calendar, and she realizes that there's one thing that's missing in that calendar, which is her Aunt Flo has been 4 days late. Now I'm getting to understand where this is going. She could be having a baby, hence part of the baby shower. So the next scene we have is that she is walking in the street, meeting up with Miranda and I'm going to call Samantha in her belly dance outfit. And I guess they had to rent a car, right, to go to Connecticut. So as she's walking towards them, she is, now 7 days late because now we are on the weekend. Got it. She hasn't said anything to anybody. We're hearing this in the narration. So as she walks up to the girls, she looks at Samantha and she says, "Nice outfit. Are you going to be belly dancing for this party?" And she goes, "Yes," after the gifts. And that's when Carrie realizes that she didn't bring a gift to the baby shower. Now, I don't know baby shower etiquette. Well, I do because I had one and I've been to many. There's one, a registry. Two, you bring a gift. So she says I completely spaced out. Okay, great. And she looks at Samantha and Samantha says, "Well, I bought a gift," and she bought a bottle of alcohol. And Miranda's like, "You brought alcohol to a pregnant lady baby shower?" And she says, "Well, the invitation said BYOB." Miranda had to correct her and said, "That means bring your own baby." I don't know how Samantha thought that bring your own bottle was the theme of a baby shower. But you have to give her credit. She's unique in her belly dance outfit. And then Carrie asks, "So what did you bring her then?" Miranda says, "Condoms." Carrie's like, "Really?" She goes, "Yeah, they're pastel." What is happening? What is happening in this show? How bad do they hate this girl? Then the next person that comes by running from the corner in her heels with the biggest, that was a basket full of bunnies. And I'm not talking about the rabbit bunnies. I'm talking about real bunnies like that. You could fit 3 kids in that basket. Okay. And of course, Charlotte went out of her way as she's running towards the car, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, I'm putting my name on that gift." I'm like, that's not even a gift. That's a year's supply of whatever the hell's in that thing. I have never even seen that thing. Okay. The best part of the scene is that they all get into the car, right? The rental car, and they all get into either the passenger side or the back seat, and nobody gets into the driver's seat. And then Samantha is like, "Does anybody know how to drive?" And I'm thinking, holy crap, are you telling me they all rented a car? How did they rent a car without a license then? To be honest with you, other than some Carrie, I've never seen any of them drive. So it's plausible that it could be only Carrie that knows how to drive. So the next scene you have is that they're rolling up into Connecticut, into Crazy Lainey's house. Wild Laney, they call her. As they pull up, they come out of the car and they look at the beautiful house. And one of the things that Carrie says, "Oh my God, Toto, I don't think we're in Manhattan anymore." And of course, Charlotte, I'm going to get married and have a house in any place that she can do. She's like, "Oh, it's beautiful." And there's a beautiful dog that's sitting in front of this is an American dream house, right? Even the scene. So Charlotte is trying to call the dog over. As the dog is running over to her, you hear this electric sound, and then the dog jumps back. And Charlotte's like, "Why? Why didn't the dog come to me?" And Miranda says, "An invisible electric fence. One of her sisters has that." So I don't remember this. This must have been a new thing. Do any of you guys remember the electric fence for dogs? It sounds and it didn't look like it was painful, but I didn't like it. I would never do that. I don't know if there's a reason to that. I don't even know if it's popular now. Let me know in the comments below if you guys have used this before, if you've seen this before, if it's ethical for pets. I don't know. I just know that it was a very Twilight Zone episode. It's very strange. So as the 4 of them start to walk up to the door, and I'm going to call them again the Witches of Eastwick because they look crazy for a baby shower. I'm sorry, but they do. Carrie tells Charlotte to don't forget the basket of bunnies. And she runs back to the car, and the three girls go up to the door, and they knock on the door, and Lainey opens up, and she's in this yellow outfit. She looks completely different from what the hell we saw in the 1990 party. And she's huge, well, pregnancy wise. And one of the first things, she's like, oh my God, like, you're weird. And Samantha's like, oh my God, you're huge, was the only fame that she can claim to fame, that she was going to make sure that she knew that she was skinny, Samantha, hence the belly button outfit. And she was going to make fun of pregnant Lainey, wild Lainey. It's the only thing she wanted to do, and bring her own bottle. And Lainey retorts back, I know, I can eat anything I want. Okay. Not the reaction that Samantha wanted. And then she tells Samantha, are you jealous? I don't think so. Because if you know Samantha, no, she's not. So as they go into the beautiful Connecticut home, there's two of the women that we're going to get introduced to later on in the show waiting at the foyer, at the stairwell. And, she introduces the girls, and they both said, we didn't think you were going to show up. Because apparently, they know that these are her New York friends. And, Carrie says, oh, I'm sorry, we're late. We got lost. And then Lainey says, oh, do you remember when you thought that you were going to fall off the edge of the earth if you left Manhattan for a second? Now, okay, I've heard this before from people, not real New Yorkers, but we do go out and we travel. We travel. Do it. And all of a sudden, Charlotte comes in with the basket of bunnies, and everybody in the party knows it's the Bellini baby basket. Oh my God, it's the Bellini baby. I've never even seen this thing. Right. Never. But apparently it's a showrunner and a showstopper. They go into the room where all of the other mothers are, and this was probably the most frightening scene for me. Because they introduce Lainey introduces all her friends, and they all look like they're from Connecticut. And I don't mean no deference to people in Connecticut. The scary side of Connecticut. The scary side of suburbia. Let's just put it that way. I'm not even going to isolate it to Connecticut. Desperate Housewives, not good. So she's introducing the room around, and then all of a sudden this woman comes up and tells Miranda and Carrie, my son is a god, and I tell him every second I get. Miranda's reaction after she walks away, she goes, what do you think in 30 years that guy is not going to need therapy? And all I can think of was Brady. That's all I can think of. I don't know why, but all I can think of was Miranda, and then just like that, and Brady. Of course, I didn't know that then. So remember, we're flipping in between. So now we're real time here. I'm like, wow, that's funny, because look how he turns out. You know what I'm saying? And she wasn't as doting as this maniac is. So this whole thing is set up also for that, in Carrie's mind, she thinks that she's having a baby. So she excuses herself to go to the ladies' room. So let's get into the next scene of the actual party. And who's the center of this party? Take a wild guess. Stay tuned and subscribe. Next scene. The baby shower party is full swing. And if you think that Lainey was in the center of it, of course not. Guess who is? Charlotte. She's right in the middle, in the thick of it. This is Charlotte's life personified. She's got the bow on her head. She's helping with the gifts. Lainey is ripping into gifts as if it was something that she used to do back in the 1990s. That's what Carrie's saying. And we get to hear who these people are. And I'll tell you how, okay? Because this was funny. So Carrie is looking around, and in her mind, narration, she couldn't help but wonder if she was going to be next. Remember, she hasn't told anybody, and she's 7 days late. So she has to go to the ladies' room again, and she tells Miranda, I have to go and pee. So she goes into the ladies' room. As she's walking past all of the gifts and all the people, she's narrating that she couldn't help but wonder if she was ready for this life, if this was what she wanted out of her life. because she still thinks it's a possibility that she's pregnant, right? So she goes into the ladies' room and she opens the door and she narrates that she looks at Lainey, 7 months pregnant. She still can't keep her clothes on. And that picture is, I believe, a rendition of Demi Moore when she was pregnant. I think I remember Demi doing a photo shoot like that as well. And in her mind, Carrie, she's like, well, there's still a part of Lainey, while Lainey, she never gave that part of herself up. Okay. So she couldn't help but wonder, what was the other women in the crowd like? So now we get into, who are the people in this neighborhood? Who are the people in this neighborhood? A little creepy. Okay. We have this one who narrates fourth wall break. Before she got married, she used to sleep with everyone. Now she's married. She has an internet lover. And nobody knows. Mm-hmm. Then we have this one who says that she used to be a VP of a high-end company and that she used to have 212 people report to her. And now she only has one person, the gardener, who doesn't speak any English and doesn't understand her. She looks happy. And we have this one who says that, she's very happily married and that, but every once in a while, she can't help but to remember Lisa. Okay. This one, swinging her child. Every once in a while, she likes to go up into the treehouse, light a funny cigarette, and forget about her life and listen to music as she's swinging her child around. These are the people in your neighborhood, When I got married, I moved to Long Island. I bought a house, very suburban. I had already seen this show, and I was very cautious on the people that came into my house. Okay? I did not forget this one at that time. I was looking around and I was like, what's happening? What's going on? Who are these people? Because it is very plausible for this to happen. I've seen a lot of these shows where, they go crazy and they have these wild parties or they have it's very plausible. But when I heard all the secrets that these women was keeping, and when people would come over, and they were like, hello, and, my son and their kids and all that, I'm like, back of the truck up. You stay over there. I'll come to your house. I was so paranoid because it was way too perfect. And I told my husband that at the time. I'm like, listen, check it out. I don't like people in my house. I don't know them. I don't want to know them. I don't want to know their secrets. And he was like, what are you talking about? I showed him this episode. He was like, you're being silly. Really? 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 He goes, no, that could happen. Because he grew up in a house and he grew up in a residential area. And he goes, yeah, I could see that. I'm like, good. So we're aligned. We're good, right? We're not going to have this happen, right? You're not going to invite me to some wild party that I need to worry about. He goes, no, we're good. Calm down. My beautiful wife. When we were happy before the divorce. Next up, confession time. They do. Next great scene in this whole thing. So as we find Miranda sitting out in the back, I presume, on the stairs, Carrie comes out and they're lightly talking. And Carrie tells Miranda that she just saw a woman in there that is breastfeeding a child that can chew steak. Why? Why, God? Why? And Miranda's like, well, you know what I say? If you can order it, that means you're probably too old. What? I have not met a mother who breastfed a child over the year one, but I've heard that happen. So I thought that was funny. Miranda goes into this a monologue about, I think that the witch in the Hansel and Gretel story was misunderstood. Here's this woman who builds her dream house, and then here are these two bratty kids that come by and want to eat it. Now I'm laughing now because we all know what Miranda goes through. Of course, we didn't know back then, but I was laughing back then because I'm like, wow, the way they view motherhood, because again, I had my son. I'm like, because I didn't know where this story was going to go so far deep, and the changes. So I'm thinking, wow, this is how this whole series is going to go. We're going to like poo poo on motherhood and life changing. I'm like, I couldn't see the trees beyond the forest. I don't know if that's the right analogy, but you know what I'm trying to say, right? So the next scene we have is that Charlotte is with Wild Laney, and the mother who thinks that her son is a god and tells him all the time that's going to have therapy in 30 years. That one. So she's telling Lainey that, oh my God, your house is so beautiful. And then Lainey's like, yes, it's like, you just have to at some point, stop your wild life and settle down. And Charlotte is feeling bad. Your life cannot be a I want to say Jacqueline Bisset novel, Four Women in the City Looking for Love. If I have the wrong name, I do apologize because I never read any of her books. But I think that's what she meant. And she's trying to play all, I'm changed. I'm not Wild Laney anymore. I have this beautiful home. And as she tries to start to clean up, Charlotte tells her, you're not going to clean up at your own party. I don't know what to call the mother that wants her son to be a king. Crazy woman says, you need to relax because either Todd or Shayla is going to come any moment now. That set Charlotte off. She goes, Shayla? She's like, crazy woman. Like, yes, isn't that a beautiful, unique name? She goes, that is my baby name. That's my name. Not even baby name. The woman, crazy woman, says, your name? She goes, yes, that's my secret baby name. And Carrie is narrating and she's saying that, oh, everybody knew about this name. Because Lainey says, oh, well, I don't know what you're talking about. I never heard of it. And Carrie's narrating, but that's a lie because apparently Charlotte made everybody swear that that was her secret baby name and nobody can take it. Apparently Lainey didn't give a fur rat's behind. And she says, I don't know, I think my husband heard it somewhere. And Charlotte's like, where? Because that's a very unique name. And crazy lady's like, I don't understand. What's wrong with you? You're not even pregnant. What is the deal with the name? Charlotte yells, that's not the point. In comes belly dancer, Samantha. She's like, what's going on? Charlotte turns around. She goes, she stole my baby name. And that was it. That's all Samantha needed to have as an arsenal. She turns around, you bitch, grabs Charlotte and walks out. That's all she needed. First of all, it's hilarious because she was dying to pick at something, right? Got it. The next thing you have, they're in a bar. I think they said it was Flanagan's eating, peanuts and beer. Now, I'm going to have to presume that when I'm watching this scene, because in my mind, Carrie believes that she's late and she could be pregnant. So she has a drink, it's red, while all the girls are drinking beer. I don't know if she's really drinking, and I did notice that then, and I noticed it now. Like, was she drinking alcohol, not realizing that she could be pregnant? I'm just asking. I don't know. And they're, Miranda's in the ladies' room, and poor Charlotte is upset because she's like, if I had not waited this long, that would have been my baby name. And, Carrie's trying to, calm her down. Like, that's not your fault. She goes, no, it is. I don't want to be 40 years old and pregnant. And she looks at Samantha, and Samantha's like, well, I don't want to be pregnant at all. What the hell are you talking about? I'm very happy with my life. And, Carrie is still stuck in the middle here, trying to not tell them what's happening. Okay. Miranda comes out and Charlotte goes into the ladies' room, and, Samantha is still proclaiming how happy she is with her life and she's not going to let anybody dictate who she should and should not be. which is what I'm saying. Like they flip between her being positive and her being insecure, which I'm fine with. It brings depth and character to Samantha. But do you get what I'm saying? Like she has that backbone to really stand up for what she believes in, and that makes me happy when I see her do that. So, Carrie is saying, Miranda's telling the team, like, well, listen, I know somebody with an MBA degree, and when she got pregnant and had her baby, all she can talk about is diaper genies. Now, I can tell you that all I could do was talk about diaper genie was like a genie to me. It was the best invention ever back then. So I got that reference. I was like, don't poo poo on the genie. Pick something else. Woman. As Carrie is trying to calm them down, and saying, listen, there's a lot of hip moms in the city that have, great lives, and they're looking at them. Name one. She blurts out the fact that she's late. And Samantha freaks out, like, bring on the drinks. And they ask, well, how late? And she's like, 7 days. Samantha's reaction was, oh, honey, you're in a gray area. Yes, you're in front of the firing squad, but you still have time. I'm like, I don't miss those days as being sexually active and worried about being pregnant. It really brought that feeling back to me. I was like, wow, I don't miss that at all. At all. So the question from Miranda to Carrie is like, are you going to tell Mr. Big? And she goes, I don't know. And she literally could not finish the sentence. And she says, I don't know what I'm going to do until I'm able to finish the sentence of what I want to do. Hence, you know what I mean, right? Keep it or not. Let's just keep it that way. You know what I mean? I'm not going to get into that. So then they're fine with that. Charlotte comes out and she asks what I miss. Apparently they didn't want to tell Charlotte. And they go, nothing. Because Charlotte will have a cow. Right there and there. Because she already lost her baby name. And she even thinks that Carrie is pregnant. Because we go down this road a couple of seasons later. But we know what happens. Let's get into the emotional support that we need to give Charlotte now because she lost her baby name. And her whole world gets destroyed. They don't. Charlotte and her dream that went poof. So Charlotte's on her bed. She's opening up her wish box. And as Carrie's narrating, she's very upset. So she opens up her box and she looks at what she kept in her wish box, which was a gift with a pillow with Shayla's name on it. So she was dead serious about having this name. That was the gift to her baby. She throws it away. Then she takes out 2 pictures of her dream house, one in the city and one in the Hamptons, which is more reasonable than the one in Maine that she originally wanted in one of the other episodes. She rips it up, throws it away. Her dream man, John, rips it up. Her backup dream man, which looks like a fake model or a model, rips that up. And she's so over dramatizing this. And she closes the box as Carrie's narrating, and she goes, it is so sad when you think about the life that you never had flash before your eyes. That's Charlotte. That is her entire story from beginning to end, every episode, every season, and just like that. Dreamland. She is head to, I give her credit. She don't play. She really does that's what she wants, and that's what she gets. Twice. 2 times a charm. The next scene we have is that we're going pregnancy test shopping with Carrie and Miranda. And as they're looking to pick one of those boxes, God, I don't miss that at all. And Miranda says, hey, look at this one. It's half off. It's on sale. Carrie's like, Miranda, I just spent $395 on a pair of Gucci sandals. I don't think this is the place that we need to be frugal. I give her credit. If she's going to buy something, she's going to buy the most expensive one. Doesn't matter for what it is. That was funny. So they pick the box that they want, First Response, which must be a sponsor of the show, which back then I didn't realize that. And then Miranda picks out a box of condoms for here's hoping. Sure, I would do that too. They get to the counter and Carrie's like, can you imagine us with kids? No, not you, apparently. And they're both looking at each other like, no, no, we can't. And then Miranda's like, I'm going to probably end up with 5. Aw, aw. hmm So the next scene we have is that Carrie is chewing gum. She narrates it 2 packs of gum later, which means she gave up her smoking because she doesn't know if she's pregnant. And she was not going to go into a panic until she was going to realize how she was going to accept what the results were. So she has the box out, but she hasn't taken the test yet. So she's getting ready to go somewhere. Where? I didn't know at that moment. So I didn't understand what was happening in the scene, right? You with me? The phone rings and guess who calls? Lainey. Wow, Lainey. I was like, are we not done with this girl? Because I didn't expect her to come back. I did not find her interesting in the baby shower, in the 1990 version of the house stripper. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she's back again. So Carrie's like, oh, hi, Lainey. And they're just talking crap. And then all of a sudden, Lainey's like, we should really get together more often. And yeah, Carrie's like, uh-huh, 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 uh-huh. You know that thing that you do when you really don't want to talk to someone. Mm-hmm. And my friends are looking at me and I'm like, I've never done that to you ever. They both look at me and like, okay, maybe once when you get on my last nerves, but not very often. And you're here with me every freaking Friday. What else do you want from me? You already have everything you need from me. I remember that because I finally got one in on them. And then they got 400 later on me. So now, as they're talking on the phone, Carrie's like, oh, listen, I got to go. And Lainey's like, but where are you going? She says, oh, I'm going to go to Samantha's party. And Lainey's like, oh, man, see, I love Samantha's parties. I miss that. Why didn't you tell me? She goes, oh, don't worry. Next time. She goes, oh, okay, fine. And I'm like, where did you think you were going? You're in Connecticut. Connecticut is not that close to Manhattan. I'm just saying. It's not depending on where you go, it could be a 2-hour drive. She's like 7, 8 months pregnant. And again, I had no clue what was going to happen. But it's coming. Because it gets, believe it or not, scarier. The whole theme of this story. Okay? So guess what? Next up, we get to see Samantha's rendition of her party. And I got to give it to Samantha. It's one of the most unique parties. Stay tuned. Subscribe. Next scene we have is Carrie's narrating about this party that Samantha's throwing. And she's saying, faced with her own inadequacies, Samantha did the one thing that she knew how she can do, was throw, I don't have a baby shower. To let everybody know that she's still fabulous. And Samantha is running around, pouring drinks to everyone. And she says, I don't have a baby. Everybody have a drink. And I'm like, yeah. I can see myself doing that if I had never gotten married and had a child. I can see her angle on this whole thing. If that was what she wanted to do and that's how she did it. And can I interject something here? I think this is Samantha's new apartment. From the last time I remember that she was looking to move, and we never really got introduced to her apartment. So I'm presuming that this whole layout is where she moved to, because I really didn't remember seeing an introduction to her new apartment. I didn't get the sense that it was Samantha's place, only because it didn't seem like Samantha. But I found it interesting that I picked up on that. I was like, where are we in this scene? Like, is this Samantha's new home? So the next scene we have is, Miranda has decided that marriage and babies equal death. So she chose life. So she's literally getting felt up on Samantha's couch by Samantha's accountant. And when I tell you felt up, the next line that Samantha says, if She F's on that couch. She buys it. You know, a remnants of what happened with Lainey in 1990. I think I said Lainey way too many times, like Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. Lainey shows up. She pops in to the apartment. Hi, I'm here. And Samantha's like, what the hell is going on? So, you know, both, sorry, I have my neighbors that are very loud and they have decided to bang on the door with their basketball. Don't even ask. I'll yell and scream later, off camera. Wait for it. So, distracted me completely. My apologies if you heard that. So the next thing you have is that Carrie is trying to, you know, bring Lainey to the couch and like, because Lainey wants to have a drink. And Carrie's like, hold on. She's like, what's wrong? I'm days away. Maybe this drink will help me give birth. What do you think the next line that Samantha says? She pulls Carrie to the side and she says, if she gives birth on that couch, she buys it. Could you imagine? See, that would have been funny if she would have gone into labor, but no. So the next scene we have is that now Charlotte comes in and she realizes that Lainey is there and she's yelling at, what is she doing here? What are you doing here? And Lainey's like, what? I miss you guys. And Lainey and poor Charlotte's like, well, you ruined my life. You ruined my dreams. And Lainey has said, well, at least you know what happened to your dreams. I don't know what happened to mine. This girl, how wild was she? Because we only got a snippet of it. I'm presuming this girl was not prepared. I mean, I don't know what happened. Like, did you not remember that you went down the aisle and said I do, and then you got pregnant and you have a child growing in you? She lost it. Lost it. So the next scene we have is that Carrie is narrating that she's trying to keep Charlotte away from Wild Lainey. Miranda comes back to the bar or pseudo bar, and she tells Miranda, oh my God, you came up for air. And Miranda's like, yeah, I mean, he's cute. He's an accountant. He's going to do my taxes for free. And then this random guy, I think his name is Jonathan, comes by and he says, hey, I've been talking to your friend Charlotte. What's the deal with her? She's single. And Carrie's like, wide open. Go forth and multiply. Paraphrasing. So as Carrie's narrating and he walks over to Charlotte, he is a investment banker at Bear Stearns. That I remember because I know the story about Bear Stearns. And she says that, you know, it gave Charlotte hope again. So as she's drinking the beer with Mr. Bear Stearns, she's scotch taping her dream life back together again. So by next episode, I'm sure she's engaged again. Because that's Charlotte. So while Lainey comes and she says this party is boring and she tries to get another drink, Carrie stops her. And then all of a sudden she decides that she's going to get up and tell everybody, hey, who wants to see my breasts? The derogatory one of it, not, I'm trying to be clean. And everybody at the party is looking at her like, what? Because it's not the wild party that we saw in the 90s, except for one guy who's on the couch, drunk as shit, okay, says, I will. So she tries to get on the ottoman, and she's like, see? And Carrie's trying to stop her. And I'm like, please tell me. She goes, hey, pregnant woman, you get to see her breasts. So she's trying to take off her top, and everybody's looking at her like, and I'm like, please, Lord, stop it. Stop it. And she couldn't do it. And it made Samantha so happy. It was the validation that she needed, that Wild Nailing was not wild anymore. She was making a fool of herself because everybody's looking at her like, ew, what 8 years will do, right? So as they bring her back down to reality, Carrie narrates that it possibly that Wild Lainey, as much as she tries to run free, her invisible electric fence is far reaching even into the city. Remember that thing that they put on the dog? So she circled it back to Wild Lainey being pulled back by her electric invisible fence. It's like what I told you. Great writing. So the next thing you have is that Carrie's walking her outside to a cab, and Lainey's like, no, I can do it. Just give me another chance. And she's like, Lainey, that's not who you are anymore, sweetheart. And Lainey is freaking out. She's like, I don't know what happened to my life. Somebody should have told me what happens. Nobody ever told me anything. This was going to happen. Whatever this is, I guess the wild was out of her. And she has to be a mom and a wife in Connecticut in her beautiful home when her invisible electric fence was not enough for her. she wanted to go back to whatever the hell she was doing when she was showing her breasts and meeting different men, because then why did you do that? Why'd you go? You had a choice. And she tells Carrie, one day you're going to wake up and you're not going to know who you are. And then she puts her in a cab and tells the cab driver to take her to Connecticut. Now, my thought was at that moment, that crushed me. That really did. This is not even funny. I was like, wow, how we all are so different and we all have our own experiences and we all feel about life changing. But this is what I said to you in the other episode, the one prior, number 9. We change. Our minds change. We grow. And you need to find that person that's compatible with you if you're lucky enough to have someone that grows with you and changes. You're not going to be the same person, not 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now. And I'm speaking to not just to the people of my generation that have already know this and we still have more years to go. I'm talking about the ones that are younger now, the 20 and 30s that might be watching this video. Don't be afraid of change. It's a beautiful thing. Accept it. And if you don't want to change, then don't do it. What are you doing? Next up, we find out if Carrie is going to have a baby in the most unique way ever. They do. Our last poignant scene. Carrie has decided to go to a park. I'm presuming Central Park because I can see the cherry blossoms behind her, which are beautiful. She decides to spend the rest of the day, the next day after the party, sitting in the park bench at the kids' playground. And she's narrating that she's wondering, could she do this? Could she be a mom? Would she be a good mom? Will she be able to keep parts of herself? Let me answer that. You could. None of us believe that we are good moms. We try our best. And there's always a part of you that stays with you. But the whole purpose of becoming and transitioning to be a mom is that you do change. Now, do we ever find out if she ever becomes a good mom? No. But I thought that this was a very beautiful, interesting scene because we all know what really happens to who in the show, ironically, and it's not her. Okay? So as she's thinking about this, a child comes over and starts to play with her, and she's like lovingly looking at her because she's still contemplating, can she be a mom? And the mother comes over and picks up the child, and she's like, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful. And the mother says, yeah, she's great. And she tells the kid, do you want to go home? And she goes, yeah. So she takes the kid away, and then Carrie walks out from the park, and as she's walking, she narrates, on my way home, I got my period. So she's not pregnant. And her period is, I'm going to say, and flow. For ones who remember that terminology, and flow. I'm still under the weather, believe it or not. Yes. Not too much, but still. And I'm not editing that out. So bless me. Sorry. It was an epilogue moment. Because now, stay tuned. The epilogue. Epilogue. My beautiful community. Couple of things. I'm getting better. My cold is going away, thankfully. I am a little emotional because the day of I'm filming, I am actually 2 days before I have to go to the memorial service for my friend that passed away. So this one was a little hard because I'm flipping between what I felt like in 1998, being a young mother with a 3-year-old child. I was 29, and who I am today, going to be 56 next month, and all the things that I went through between now and then, and how we all went through our changes as well, not just in our own personal lives, but with the show and in just like that. So this one, as on rewatch right now, really struck me because I can vividly remember how I felt and looking at my son and feeling that way. I find it interesting that it never comes up again that she thinks that she's pregnant again. And we all know what happens. She decides not to have children, which is fine. And who has the child? And I just found it funny how Miranda was so stark against having children, and her emotional level of where she was then. And I go back to what I say, even on the show, and this is what I appreciate when you think about it, because if you're watching it for the first time, whether you're watching it now or you're watching it back then, remember, we didn't know where any of this was going to go, right? Got it. But we now know. And goes back to what I try to bring home. Just because you felt something 3 years ago doesn't mean you're not going to change 3, 4, 5 years later. And this is what this show brings out. Even though certain people don't have the certain arc that we are introduced to possibly now, like Carrie having a child or becoming a mother. Samantha still not changing. She's not going to settle down, but she has her arc. We all know what happens with Charlotte and Miranda's transition. It was a great experience to see that they didn't try to keep the characters the same way throughout the entire 6 seasons. Okay. We went through their changes. Some of them were good. Some of them were bad. Some of them were sad, but that's another thing that really, it reminded me when I watched this episode in season 1. It wasn't the greatest season. I keep saying that. It didn't move the needle for me as much as I wanted to. I think I enjoyed more of my friends being around and us laughing and me experiencing this and listening to what I thought I said. What I told you before, you think that you're happy. You think that by getting married and having a house and doing all the stuff is going to make you happy. While Lainey is proof positive of what I was trying to say. You be careful what you wish for because you just might get it. Now, we never see Lainey again. We don't know what happens. We can only imagine what happens. If she's freaked out that one day she wakes up and she's a different person, yeah, that's what really happens. And it's not just about motherhood. It's transitioning into your 30s, into your 40s, into your 50s, menopause, marriage, men, kids, wives, husbands, whatever the fuck, excuse my language, happens. And this is why I was so disappointed in Just Like That, because they left us wanting more between the series and the movies, right? And then we just get thrusted into and Just Like That, and we get completely different characters. We don't know no flashbacks, nothing. Miranda's miserable in her marriage that she fought for, because she fought tooth and nail. Her son is having relations in their house. She decides to become, blow up her family and go with Che with no transition, no explanation, nothing. We all know that. I don't know what the hell happened to poor Charlotte. I mean, she was dingy and ditzy, but my God, and Just Like That, they amped it up to the 10th degree. Carrie was phoning it in. And we never got the replacement for Samantha. As much as they tried with Seema and whatever the hell that was going on, there was no, I went through 22 years. It was just cut off at movie 2, bring us back in to their next phase of life. Big is gone. Carrie's running around thinking that she's still a kid with her stupid shoes and her labels and her stupid boys. And you know what I mean? And like, there's so many things that they could have done to help us feel that we went through those 22 years with them in some shape or form. And they didn't. And that is why I cannot stand that show. And I know some people are still trying to get into it or thinking about, don't do it. You want to get into this? Get into this. Come with me to this journey. Do your own journey. Have some drinks with your friends. The show does get a lot deeper, and we keep saying that we're close to ending it. Season 1, season 2 still is on a rocky setting for me, but it gets better. And hopefully, once I get past what I get past, because, it's crazy. People are passing away all around me. And we all know about that, right? You're in the middle life of your life, and the people that you knew when they're much older are dying, and you look down and you can't be who you were before. You're stuck in that middle. That's where we are right now. But I'm still happy. I'm still moving. I'm still doing the things that I want to do. And I know that my next phase of my life is going to be here with you, God willing. We're going to grow this channel. We're going to grow. We're going to expand. I'm going to do different things. I just want to make sure that you all are happy with what we're going to be doing. And I'm taking recommendations as well. I don't know how long YouTube is going to last. There's, like I've said before, there's some crazy stuff happening in YouTube that, they're claiming they're going to help smaller channels and all this other stuff, and for my views, there's something happening. Like I mentioned before, there's still people complaining about views. And let me just give you a little understanding of what's happening with the views. I'm still getting a lot of comments and a lot of likes, but my likes and comments are not matching to the views. And that's where most of the larger channels are having issues. Something is not adding up. They feel that the YouTube algorithm has changed, that they're not getting, and I'm talking about large channels, are not getting the views that are equivalent to their likes. Here's what happens when that happens. When YouTube feels that the view count on your subscribers don't reach, they don't push your videos out, because the video becomes very popular in the first day that it comes out. And if people don't tune in, the algorithm, the AI YouTube algorithm, thinks that this is not a good video. Doesn't matter how many likes and comments now. Now it doesn't push out the videos to new people. And you know what? I'm going to let it rest. I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing, because at some point YouTube is going to fix this, because the people that are complaining are way too big for people not to notice. And eventually, I know that I'm putting my heart into this, because even if it's the ones that are responding now, I'm doing it for you. Will we get to where I need to get to? I totally believe we are. I totally believe that we are. And I say we because this is a journey that you and us are taking. So for the ones that are here, I'm not going to stop. So don't you worry about it. I'm not discouraged, because it's not me. I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. Okay, a little bit, not too much, just a little bit. And I'm enjoying this. So even if my likes and my comments don't match up to the views, and the algorithm doesn't get push out my videos to whom it should be pushed out, you know what? We're good. We'll figure this out. So listen, I'm not going to be able to drop the next 2 videos because I have to get ready for the memorial service. So my next 2 videos will be out next week, and we're going to end the year, and we're going to start 1999. So I want you to all have a beautiful, beautiful, blessed day. Thank you. Goodbye. Mwah.